What's up, everybody? It's David Verity.
Shawty wanna cut, shawty wanna ride. When I roll up, those are suicide. Shawty know what's up, she can see it in my eyes. She don't give a damn cause she ready to fly.
Inexorable, or more accurately, inexorable. I call it inexorable because, I don't know, I felt like it. Basically means something that cannot be stopped. The natural progression of that thing cannot be stopped, and I call it that because I've been doing this for a long time now, you know, some of you may know, and, you know, I just kind of feel like, you know, I just really can't stop doing what I do. I mean, I love what I do. I love music. Music is in me. And, you know, I've been through a lot, you know, and I'm still here. So I felt like Inexorable was a perfect title for the album.
I should've known by the way she moved her body. She ain't someone you can turn into a good girl. How she told me it was cool to get naughty. She the truth, man, shawty, she should be my new girl.
How have I paid my dues? Man, where do I start with that question? I was working with the artist in 2004 by the name of Jeremy Green. And at that time, I produced songs for him, and he eventually got a deal with a couple big managers, and you know, he was on that Living Longhand show, and eventually got a deal with MySpace Records. So he was the first artist that I produced who got a record deal. We used to be friends, you know, back in the day in like 03, 04, and I don't know, man, it's like one of those things where it's like you just trust somebody, you know, you trust your friends to, you know, not to be upfront and to be legit with you and to be cool. And it's just one of those things where, you know, I mean, it was just one of those things where he felt like, you know, he got his record deal, you know, he didn't look back for me to put me on the album. And at the time I was young and naive, so I didn't get a contract with him or anything like that. And, you know, I just kind of expected him to look back, you know, to his boy to help work on the album, which he didn't do, so.
Through the fire, ice of the storm, I do whatever it takes to win and get on. Never will I say the pain is too great. I'll just turn up the heat and raise the stakes. The blood that tears the sacrifice. Emotions charged and amplified. If destiny eludes me, I'll give chase. This is my story. I do whatever it takes.
You know, he put out that single Rain. He called me on the phone, you know, I was like, hey man, you know, what do you think about this song Rain? And I was like, I dig it, you know, I dig it. It's better than a lot of the other stuff I had heard from him, so I told him he should probably go ahead and push that as a single, and that's what he ended up doing. The other artist that I worked with, her name is Daphne. She's an R&B recording artist. Jeremy was a writer. Daphne isn't a writer, she's just an artist. But she has an amazing voice. She doesn't write. I wrote and produced and recorded her almost her entire, well, about an album's worth of material. I got her meeting with Barry at Def Jam. We took her music over there, you know. He liked the music, but he passed on her as an artist. And, you know, I tried to explain to her, like I tried to explain to every other artist I've ever worked with, it's going to happen. Not everybody's going to like you. I think, you know, I tell my artists, I told Daphne, I said, hey, you know, they passed on the Beatles hella times. I think something like 50 times. You know, they passed on Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix had to go to England to, you know, get a buzz and to get started because, you know, no one was really feeling his psychedelic, you know, what Jimmy was doing. And I tell her, I said, you know, all the greats had to go through being told no. So don't fret, but you know, I think it got the best of her, and she was really hurt by, you know, Def Jam. So those are some of the things I've done on a production and writing side. As an artist, I released 2 albums, Ready or Not and The Foundation, respectively, in 2003 and in 2007, under the moniker of Devontae, which we'll talk about later. But I released those 2 albums with no help of any kind from any labels. I did it completely independently with my own money, and I've always kind of been broke, so that was hard to do. But, you know, the whole situation with those albums is, it was hard for me to get on radio with those albums because I've always been a songwriter who writes songs about love, life, and relationships, as you know, people have heard me say throughout my career, and because I think that those are the most vital aspects of the human experience. And that's what I chose to write about pretty much my whole life. And it's hard to get on radio with those kind of records because it's like people are so busy talking about, you know, money or drugs or girls or, you know, sex. So it's like, it's hard to get on the radio. The records that we on radio are paid for, they're bought. I mean, they pay millions of dollars to get on radio like they do. Promotion and advertising and radio isn't even about the artist, it isn't even about the music. Radio is a business of, you know, making money from advertisers, and the music is just to capture the listener long enough to get the advertisers to play the commercials. That's really what radio is about. Anyone who knows radio knows that. And so it was hard for me to get radio. I did manage to do so locally. I was in heavy rotation in my city, but that's because it was my city. And, you know, I just didn't have, you know, millions of dollars behind me like everyone else to push my career. You know, I never have. I've never sold drugs like a lot of other, you know, urban artists, you know, and that's just real talk. I'm just keeping it real. They talk about it, so it's not a secret. So, you know, being an honest man, making an honest living, you know, trying to, you know, be there for your family. I don't have any kids, but I take care of my nieces. Me and my mother do, you know, because my sister had problems, and you know, we had to take care of her children for her. So that's where I'm at now, even to this day. And you know, it's just hard to make that happen. So those two albums never did anything significant. But nevertheless, that's what I've done in the industry so far. And people have, I think, always said, though, that I do make good music. I make real music, so it makes it all worth it. One of the things that I think, well, first and foremost, one of the things that I think makes me different is the fact that I write real music. I don't like to talk about, you know, like I said, just the pointless, frivolous stuff. Everything that I write. Most other artists in the industry, pop and R&B artists, they just field records from like every which direction. They take records from their managers, their agents, their labels, producers, and you know.